Greetings, chess fans. Now that my participation in the FIDE World Cup is officially over, even though I'm still here in India, I would like to share with you a small secret. So, naturally, when I was qualified for the FIDE World Cup, I prepped intensely. I added new openings. I was trying to fix my black color, mostly like trying to play more solid and thus reliable openings at the highest level. But I also decided to play in the Serbian league, to play against elite players. And one of the steps to better prepare for the tiebreaks was a friendly match against my fellow countryman, Nikita Meshkovs. So I'm the Latvian number one player, he's Latvian number two. And it was actually his initiative. He offered that we could play some sparring games before the FIDE World Cup, try to emulate the situation. And we did it. So we played in total two small mini matches, so 4 games each. It was done in the first half of October over the course of 2 days, 8 games in total. And we played a lot of fun games. And I also felt that they highlighted some of the things that I need to focus. Now, obviously, in the hindsight, yeah, you can maybe argue, did it help? Like, yeah, maybe result-wise, it quite didn't help because I was still playing very heavy, but still I felt that this was a very important step for the preparation. I'm very thankful to Nikita for reaching out. So I would like to show you a couple of games from the match. And because these were the most exciting ones, right? Okay, here we go. So this is the first game I'm going to show you. The order doesn't really matter how we played it. Again, like I already said, we played 4 games each day, 15 minutes plus 10 seconds. And in this game, I decided to open up the game with the Reti opening, which was my original idea for the FIDE World Cup. That is until the moment when Suleimanov decided to play the Grunfeld with d5 and g6, and I just changed my mind and I went back to e4. So here in this game, Nikita played knight f3, g3, d5, a classical continuation, which was one of my biggest focuses for the prep, because I was expecting that Suleimanov might include new openings, and this entire setup with e6, bishop e7, and castle is really a tough nut to crack. So white has a choice. White has to play either the classical Catalan with d4, white has to play maybe an interesting sideline with b3, or as in this game, I decided to test d3, which was one of the tricks I wanted to use for the rapid games. Like these positions are pretty fresh, pretty modern, and I just want to see how it's going to go. So naturally, black has many continuations here. He typically plays c5, he can play knight c6, he can play maybe knight d7, there's many moves. Even maybe take on c4. Here Nikita played knight c6, and as I understand, he had tried this variation himself from the white's perspective recently, and somebody played knight c6 against him. So he was curious to see how it fares from the black's perspective. So black is thinking about e5 push. I play a3. So now it feels like some sort of an English opening. I'm thinking about some b4 stuff. And if black plays a5, I could play knight c3. And if black gets ambitious with d4, I suddenly get knight b5. And you see this knight on b5 followed by e3. Black is having some problems, right? So with the pawn on black pawn on a5, he can no longer challenge the white knight on b5. So Nikita played e5, which is one of the principal choices. C takes, knight takes on d5. They decided to test one of the lines with b4. So b4 is, again, strictly looks like English opening. And he would have to pick up that the best move is bishop f6, threatening to play e4. And the line continues from here. But he responded with a5, which is something I did not know. I played b5 and knight e4. And again, this is like a classical idea from the English opening with c4, e5, and sometimes you get these positions. But again, I was not super familiar with this. And I felt that knight takes on e5 is risky, but I just wanted to give it a try. So according to an engine, white has to play a knight takes on d4 and bishop b2. So obviously I saw this line that I'm hitting the pawn on d4, he will play bishop f6. But this was kind of based on miscalculation, because I thought after knight e2, he can play knight c3. So that was the big idea. And if I take on c3, d takes on c3, I simply had missed from afar that after knight e4, he does not have c2. So c2, I play knight takes on f6, intermezzo check. He does not win the exchange. On the contrary, I'm winning the pawn. And if he doesn't play c2, then he's simply dropping the pawn on c3, and I just enjoy a large advantage. So I didn't see that, and I play knight takes on e5, accepting the challenge. And obviously, if white just plays, if black plays knight takes on b5, these positions mostly should be in favor for white, because I have the center. He has won like seemingly a meaningless pawn on b5, so I thought that should be better. He played bishop f6, I played f4, and now this position is very complex. So here, engine says that black had to take on e5, play bishop g4. I mean, this makes quite a bit of sense. But after rook f2, just ignore the pawn and play queen d7. I think it's very difficult to play this if you don't know this, because you are immediately seeing the drawbacks of your position. You're down a pawn, white has the bishop pair, and you still need to spend like 2 tempies to pick it up. Okay, maybe the pawn on b5, but I want to give it up anyway. So I think it just once again proves that chess is a very concrete game, and concretely here, I cannot play the obvious move bishop b2 because of knight e3. I think so, actually. I don't know, maybe I can still play, but then again, I might have some problems. For example, bishop b2 knight e3, there's going to be another problem with the fork on b3, which maybe I can sacrifice, etc. Yeah. So by no means it was an easy choice for him. So he took the pawn on b5, and I was having difficulties finding a good move, because again, the obvious move bishop b2 runs into this even more obvious knight e3. So I just play king h1, just in case, to walk away from all kinds of checks, and yeah, basically just see what happens, so that there's no queen d4 ideas in some lines. So he played a4, which maybe was not a good move, because what he tried to do, he tried to fix a weakness on b3. I played d4. I was very happy about this move, because I'm closing this diagonal, and I'm also willing to play queen d3, secure the c3 score, maybe play e4 and grab the center. And around here, I had a feeling I'm better. So after queen d3, bishop e6, here engine says I could have played f5 and bishop b2. Yeah, maybe. And then go for some king set attack, but I was not sure if f5 is a good inclusion. So I went for the development. Here, black played queen b6, targeting pawn on d4, makes perfect sense. I play knight f3. Again, all of this is very logical. And here, again, this is one of those moments when it just highlights that I fully do not understand the position. So f5, bishop c8, and e3 apparently is just winning for white. Like, I'm thinking about some g4, g5. It's a bit unusual pawn structure, but apparently my massive lead in the space advantage and the potential king set attack, according to an engine, is just winning. Instead, I played e4, which I felt is a very natural move, because now I have this massive center of 3 pawns and a knight on e5. He played knight e7. Engine says knight c7 for some reason is better. Like, again, it's very difficult to explain why. Knight c7, because it kind of cuts off the black queen. So knight e7 looks a bit more logical. Bishop e3, so I'm thinking about some d5 threats, target the queen and target the bishop. He played bishop b3. Okay, here we go. Here we go. It's time to strike, because I feel I'm fully developed. I have all of my pieces positioned literally perfectly. Okay, I could bring the queenside rook in the game, but then I'm going to drop the pawn on a3. So I just play d5. d5, open up the position. He played queen a6. Again, Engine says queen c7 is a move, but after queen c7, you immediately see there's going to be rook fc1, there's going to be queen takes on b5, the queen is not where it's supposed to be, rook c8 is bishop h3, etc. So again, it's very difficult for black to go here. So what he did, he played queen a6 like a safe move, and I felt this is the moment to strike. So I played, boom, knight f7. Like, this move, I think, doesn't really require a lot of calculation. It was just based on gut instinct. And the point is, after king takes on f7, I play e5, and all hell breaks loose. So, for example, if he takes on d5, I take on h7, I cut off his king. Obviously, my bishop now is hanging. Now I give a check. He takes it here, and if I was not terribly mistaken, this somehow ends with a draw. Somehow it's a draw, yeah? I mean, the king is about to be checkmated, but no, Engine says it's a draw. If I'm not terribly mistaken, I already forgot Engine evaluation. And if he plays like, after king f7, e5 goes back here, king g8, I take it, I play rook e1, I play queen f5, he has to pick up some weird queen a5, and somehow there's no mate. Which I don't believe, to be honest. Okay, so Nikita obviously is a human being, and instead he decided to take on a1, because my rook is also under attack. I took his rook. Now next on d8. I also was looking at some very fancy lines like knight g5, threatening to play e5 and queen h7, ignore the rook. Like here, e5 takes, g6, and maybe there's something, but I didn't find anything. Yeah, and Engine also confirms there's nothing. So I took on d8. If he takes it, I take on a1, I guess I'm somehow better, because his king is a bit weak and queen on a6 is disconnected from the game. So he played knight x on a3, and this is getting really tricky because now my queen is under attack, the knight on d8 is under attack, but I had first seen this, that I can take the queen. If he plays rook takes on a6, it's quite similar to what happened in the game. He played b takes on a6, which I think is more sensible because my knight on d8 remains under attack, and if I take on a1, he's going to fork me with knight c2 and now the rook at a1, and the bishop on e3 is under attack, so it's a total chaos on the board. And I don't remember what was the clock situation. I think he was ahead, and he had maybe like 2 minutes or something here. Yeah, so I had to calculate a lot of stuff. So I decided to play d6. I was very happy with this move. Like, it just felt that it's the right move to play. Because if the knight moves, then I can just take on c6 and play d7. So I don't think he really has a choice. He took it, I took on e7, rook e8, and now comes the critical moment of the game. So I took on a1, I'm about to sacrifice the rook, he plays knight c2. And this is such a fantastic position, you know, like clearly one of the, if not the most exciting game of the sparring match. Why to play and win? So what I did in the game, I played bishop c5. So I sacrificed the rook. I played bishop c5, he played knight x on a1. I played bishop h3. And I tried to dominate the position by my two bishops. Like if he walks away, for example, he goes, I don't know where he goes. Here, probably I'm going to go like this. And this, and here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and take on e8, and bishop d7, and completely dominate the board. Like, he has the rook, but I have the pawn on e7 and two bishops, right? I was very excited about the line. But the point is that he can give up the exchange. And he can play knight c2. Or what he played in the game, knight b3. And here, apparently, I'm still winning if I play the correct move, bishop d6, c5, and I simply missed from afar that I can take on a4. Because I thought with c5 he cuts off my bishop on d6. If I take on e8, he takes on e8, he's a-pawn is rolling forward. I just missed it, and bishop takes on a4 is again winning. So that's why this knight b3 is a mistake. He should have played knight c2. And now this entire idea doesn't work, and he's securing the draw. It's going to be obstacle of bishops. I take on e8, I play knight e4, everything trades, obstacle of bishops, and it's a draw. So he played knight b3, and he plays c5, and tried to cut off his king. There was a time scramble. I tried to activate a king. Bishop c5, knight b5, knight c4. I have to stop the pawn. There's nothing I can do. And finally, yeah, try to cut off his king, play for some domination, and I'm still obviously pressing for the win. But there's nothing I can do. So what I try to do is I try to create yet another outside pass pawn, at once with a king on e8. Try to play e8 and g6, I will be winning a piece, but I cannot make a progress. And why? Because if I promote and give a check, I cannot save the h-pawn, because of the a pawns for black. I had the right corner, but I cannot save the pawn. Bishop e7 is the a3. And this will be just a draw, right? So we finished in a draw. Like, I was shuffling the pieces here and there and trying to figure out where's the win, and I didn't find a win. But where was the win, ultimately? If you go back to this crazy position right here, there was a win for white. It's absolutely crazy move. Rook a4. Sacrifice rook for nothing, which is basically what I did in the game. But I eliminate a pawn. Now the point is that the bishop a4, knight, bishop c5. I keep my pawn on e7. I dominate the knight on c2, which doesn't really stand so good. And I'm still going to play knight e5, bishop h3, etc. So it's very fascinating line. Like, I don't even allow him to sacrifice the exchange on e7. I'm not really sure, is it knight e5 here or knight g5 here, e5, and bishop e4, etc. Bishop h3, bishop d7, and white is just winning. So this was one of the most exciting games. And yeah, we finished in a draw. All right. So let me show you another one. I believe this next game was the very first game that we played against each other. This time I was playing with the black color. So obviously we would switch colors all the time. 50 minutes plus 10 seconds. And he opened up with knight f3 and played the classical Reti. Yeah, and this classical Reti, I don't think it's a very good weapon. Like, its main purpose is an element of surprise. Because black can play d4, and these d4 are very annoying systems. And if black is not committed to e6, like the pawn doesn't stand on e6, then obviously he should go for d4. If I play e3, I play knight c6, I play e5, and all problems solved. So he played b4, which is one of the tricky lines. In this game, I decided to try to play bishop g4, which probably is not the best move, but I remember that there's such an alternative. And white typically plays, I think, g3 here, or queen b3. Both of these moves are perfectly playable. He played something else. He played queen a4 check. I didn't know this move, like I was already out of the book. c6, knight e5. Now he's hitting my bishop. I played bishop f5. But there's some very interesting possibilities for white, because suddenly white can play even g4. g4, bishop e4, rook g1, d3, and whatever is this position. So Nikita decided to play b5, which kind of justifies the placement of the queen on a4. So I have to get rid of the invading knight. I play f6. B takes, B takes. And again, here Engine says that white can play g4. Like, it's a move. It's amazing. It's a move. So I was actually calculating this during the game, because if I take the obvious bishop takes on b1 and win the piece, then after knight takes on c6, queen d7, white just goes here. And I saw this line. I thought, I'm still playing bishop c2, and if he takes with the queen, I play knight takes on c6, I keep the piece. But after queen b5, Engine says, white is winning. So the threat is knight takes on b8, and there's nothing I can do. Okay, I did not see all of this already. So I play e5. Knight b8 is, by the way, queen b5, I think. So he takes on e5, takes it, and white is... Was it winning or was it better? I really don't remember. Yeah, these were like very complex lines. So, but at least I saw them, that up to a certain moment they exist. And after g4, I would have to play bishop e4. Yeah, that's the key. Try to close the diagonal, and he has to go back. Because now f3, I would take on b1, and this game continues. Yeah, it's whatever. Whatever is this position. Like, it feels like Fisher random chess or something. So, he played knight f3, I play e5, and I think that white already needs to be a bit careful, because if he's gonna play it slowly and carefully, I'm just gonna grab space. Like I'm gonna bring out the bishop somewhere, and 97, not on d7, 97 castle eventually, 97 knight c5, maybe even c5. White's gonna be worse. White is simply gonna be worse because of the space advantage. So Nikita understood that he has to react aggressively. He's a very good player, obviously. He played e3. After e3, I played queen b6. I covered the pawn on c6. And I'm also hitting the knight on b1, which I felt is a very logical move. So again, anything else that white does, if white plays something passive as queen b3, c5, he's just worse. Instantly, he's worse. Right, knight c6, my space advantage is going to start to tell at some point. So he needs to be aggressive. So here, according to an engine, he could have taken on d4. I saw the line, but I just didn't believe it can work. Like, if I take on b1, white plays c5, queen b7, and just sacrifice a piece. Yeah, like, just like that. So the point is, if I retreat, d4, white has a massive lead in development, and this is apparently a large advantage to white, like white is down a piece. Okay, if you say so. And if I take on c5, he plays queen c4, and he plays d3, and he somehow traps my bishop on b1. Okay, if you say it like that, dear Stockfish, none of this is very obvious for even very strong GMs. But Nikita instead, he decided to play c5, which is a typical pawn sacrifice in these positions. Like, there's a very famous idea after knight e5, c4, d4, b4, there's the f6 line, e3, e5, c5, a5, and white very often sacrifices the pawn on c5. So this c5 idea to enable bishop c4, it's definitely there. And that's why Nikita felt that it also can be used right here. So he played c5, open up the c4 square for the bishop, also maybe make an escape route for the knight on b1. I took it. He played bishop a3, knight a3, and I took on e3. I felt like this is a good moment to clarify the situation, because he cannot take with the d pawn. Like, that's going to be a queen trade. I mean, I'm going to trade the queen, so on b4, and I definitely have no problems. Maybe I don't have a big advantage, but it's clear I don't have any problems. So he took with f-pawn, and after queen b4, as it happens, he doesn't really have to trade the queens, because I was very proud of this move. I'm also threatening bishop e3, pin the king on e1 so that he cannot recapture, and he took it. But actually he can reject it, he can play queen b1, because the point is, I cannot take on e3. It's not why you think I cannot take. He plays knight c4, and bishop a3 is a killing threat. So bishop c5, bishop a3, and I'm losing something big time. So this bishop a3 is a game changer. So I have to sacrifice a queen, which is clearly not enough for black. So I would have to play knight e7, knight c4, knight e7. Now I protect the bishop on c5 with my knight on d7. The game continues, but white has some compensation. Some. Probably not the full compensation, but some compensation. But he decided to trade the queens, play knight c4. So here I felt that the knight on e7 is not a very good move, because it kind of blocks the bishop on b4. So instead I played knight h6. He played a3, push away my bishop, bishop e7, there you go. This is why I need a square, because if I would have played like automatically knight e7, a3, bishop c5, there's some very big problems. Now I cannot retreat with the bishop, because there's going to be a fork, like a couple of problems that are possible here. So I play knight h6, a3, bishop e7, d4. So clearly, again, a pretty critical moment. I felt like I have no issues here, but white is trying to compensate the missing pawn because of some dynamics. And that's why I didn't even seriously consider that I can take on d4. He's going to play knight e4, I like rook b1. So white is like having a pretty fantastic activity, and my extra c pawn doesn't even feel. So I felt I have to be more aggressive than this. So I play knight f7. So activity is far more important than pawn. And now the point is, like, after d takes on e5, I take with the knight, knight f5, f takes on e5, and if he takes on e5 here, I pin his knight on e5, bishop b2, I pin again the knight, so he has to retreat. I take on b2, I play rook b8, and I'm very active. So I saw this position and I thought, okay, maybe I don't have really a large advantage, but I definitely enjoy some of it. And perhaps there's going to be some rook b3 here, knight c5, and the king is not going to easily castle because I can always block the file, like removing the bishop, and not allow the king to slide to the king side. So Nikita also felt that this is pretty dangerous to him. He played bishop b2 instead. I play knight e7, again, same issue. Like if he takes on e5, then that's a problem. So he played a long castle, which is a bit dangerous move because the king is never feeling safe. I think he shouldn't have done that. I played a short castle, so I'm still sacrificing the pawn on e5 because here, if he takes it, I simply collect the pawn on a3. And that's simply a free pawn, which is rolling forward. You play knight e6. Bishop c4, trying to be aggressive. Takes. So this is pretty forcing line. And now the question is where to put the knight. Is it on c5 or is it on b6? So I thought that knight c5 is more natural move. Engine actually disagrees, says that knight b6 is better move. But after knight takes on e5, I mean, I don't know if I would be able to pick this up even in a classical game. The best move for black is rook e8. Like, what? Like, what's even the threat? I don't understand it. Give up the pawn on c6. Okay, this is clear. Knight takes on c6 is going to be rook c8, but where's even the threat? Like, bishop f6 and with the pawn on e3 or what? Yeah, Engine says that this is somehow really great for black. Yeah, like, okay, like I'm not at that level, clearly. So I play knight c5, and I thought that he has to play rook f1, clearly. He has to take over the file. I would give a check. He cannot take the knight because the rook on f1 is hanging. I would secure the knight with e4, and okay, like I have the pawn, but he's pretty active. My knight on d3 is not really killing, so I have some advantage, but it's probably not enough, right? And yeah, by the way, bishop takes on e5 is very dangerous because I play rook f2. He would have to play something like g4. There's all kinds of knight b3 threats, etc. So from a practical standpoint, it looks scary, but Engine says it's playable. So what happened is that he played knight takes on e5, which, yeah, it just loses on the spot. Because now I play rook f2, and he doesn't have any defense. Like, it's not about the pawn on g2 even, because it's about the king's safety. I'm threatening moves like rook b8, knight b3, and just go for the mate. And by the way, maybe in some lines I'm going to collect the pawn on g2, like if I find nothing else. Like knight takes on c6, I just either play bishop g5, or even bishop f8 to keep the gaze to the pawn on a3. And yeah, just play chess. The king is weak. That's why I said the long castle is very dangerous. So he should have thought about it in the first place. And he immediately blundered. He played rook f1 and blundered knight b3. And that's it. So he had to resign because king b1 is just rook takes on f1 with a fork to follow. So like I already said, this was the very first game for a sparring match. I won it. And in total, we played, like I already said, 8 games, 4 games a day. And they would last for 5 hours. So they were pretty intense games. None of them were like quick. And the final result was I won the first mini match with 2.5 against 1.5. The second match finished 2 against 2. So in total, I won 3 games, made 3 draws, and lost 2 games. And both of these games that I lost, actually, they highlighted one pretty significant flaw for the FIDE World Cup, is that I keep pressing equal positions. And this is something I also talked with Nikita about, that I have to be more pragmatic, that sometimes when you have a black full equality, and this is exactly what happened in both games because they're completely identical. I'm not going to show you them. It's not really exciting. Like, I thought I have to be ambitious. I thought I have to try, because for me it's like I have to win every single game that I'm getting, right? I want to fight. And then Nikita would punish me in the very end. Yeah, so a couple of those endgames were really nice. Maybe I'm going to show you like the specific endgame on on another occasion, like very, very instructive for King Games. We had but I thought it was overall a valuable lesson. But I mean, I was still playing in the FIDE World Cup, and then there's the second classical game where I had full equality after the opening, and I still kept pushing. And actually, during the game, I was remembering the sparring match. I was remembering what we talked about. Is this the right moment to press? And I convinced myself this is still a classical game. In a classical game, I'm going to figure it out. In the rapid games, I'm going to be smarter. And by the way, this was the lesson I took into account in the first rapid game, because in the tiebreaks, because when I was not winning, I just decided not to risk it, right? I have to remember the larger picture, that I have to fight for the win. Well, unfortunately, it didn't quite work out, because I did lose the second game, and I was unable to replicate this lightness. There was a lot of stress, but overall, these games were very, very valuable to me, so I'm very, very thankful to Nikita for helping me out. He, by the way, was himself playing in the FIDE World Cup 4 years ago, so he knows all of this atmosphere. I don't think he made it in the tiebreaks, but he knows what it is to play at this level. So that's it from me for now. I don't think I will be making more videos from the FIDE World Cup unless something really exciting comes up. I wanted to make this video a long time ago. Now I just have the opportunity to do it. There's no need already to hide anything what I played. And by the way, you can check out my Patreon, because I believe today I will upload a video about how it feels like to be here. I'm literally walking from my room to the playing venue, to the dining room, to show you all the possibilities that are available here. So it feels pretty nice. So maybe it's gonna give you a better feeling on how it feels to be here in the resort Rio. So you go check it out on Patreon. I think I'm gonna set it at the fun level to be accessible. All right, so that's it. I'm trying to keep myself busy, maybe relax a bit today, and be good. So thank you for watching. Take care.